This holiday season, every time you purchase a 12-ounce SnortBucks coffee, a portion of the proceeds will be given to the Penny Foundation, the world's premier charity dedicated to helping down-on-their-luck content creators pay their daily bills.
I need that money. I really do. I need that money. I need my bills, the electric bill, the internet bill.
So stop by your local SnortBucks today and help send some Penny their way.
Actually, Lucy, my trouble is Christmas. I just don't understand it. Instead of feeling happy, I feel sort of let down.
I know how you feel about all this Christmas business, getting depressed and all that. It happens to me every year.
Oh boy, I'm right back at it, just like I said I would. Didn't necessarily promise, but I did say I'd be back. And so here we are. Season's greetings and happy holidays from everybody here at GTG Network and Productions, DSPNEWS, the Snort Report, and SnortBucks Coffee Company, the best beverage company. We are here for our 11 days of Goutmas, or, well, yeah, we're on the 11th day of Goutmas. But you know what I mean, 12 days of Goutmas. You know, it's a thing and whatnot. It's a tradition here, I suppose. And we have a bit of a two-piece. One of you guys could say, or some of you could say, cookies and eggnog and whatnot, because, you know, SnortBucks is just a guarantee on that. So that's a thing. Should be fun, hopefully. I can't promise you that it won't be toxic like the last episode was. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. You know what I'm saying? It's the holiday season. Everybody can catch the smoke. So we will see. But for right now, though, it should be somewhat civil, maybe. Yet again, we're gonna go back. I'm gonna take you guys back to 2017, like we never left. And I've got two particular pieces here, two particular videos that I think will coincide with what's been going on recently. So, or at least I hope so. So that's our essential plan of attack, if you will. We had holiday fruit cake with bacon topping, which is disgusting, I'm sure. So we're gonna go ahead and just cut into like a boneless, a spiral ham, if you will. No, just a boneless ham, because spiral hams do have bones in the middle of it. Anyway, we'll go with that for right now. You know what I'm saying? I'll have like a honey glaze, just something to kind of, just a bit of an appetizer, if you will, to go along with the eggnog and everything else. I am an eggnog person, hence the reason why I brought it up. Yet again, the SnortBucks will be flowing. You guys understand the rules of all this. The first round of SnortBucks is on me, and then it is like 25 or is it 35% discount from here till Christmas, something on those lines. And hopefully you guys are just doing well, to be honest with you. So let me not hold you guys up any longer. While I still have the energy to do it, let's go ahead and just do it. So I'll see you guys in just a second.
How to play the game!
What the fuck?
Oh my god.
I haven't been taking breaks recently because I've been playing Destiny 2, and it's such a freaking grind, I just keep playing. But today I am definitely going to take a break. Breaks are good. The thing is, especially for someone like me who has...
I wonder what Agent Proper thinks about that, because as all of you guys know, Prop is an advocate for Destiny 2. The Destiny series in general, really. So I wonder if he... wonder how he feels about the grind of it. And DSP back in the day, needing to take a break because it was too grindy. Ladies and gentlemen, let me take you guys back to September 16th of 2017. KO Gaming / DSP Gaming Pigroach. Oh man, Burnell was amazing with this shit. Pigroach choice, disrespecting the Patreon goal or patron's goal. Sorry, that's all it was. Yeah, I shouldn't have crunched all that together. That's unfortunate. This is brought to us by Burnell. Clearly, the link will be down in the description. And if any of you guys know, you know. So I won't spoil it. But let's go, because I've chosen this video, let's go ahead and talk about something recent that apparently happened. So, there's been a bit of a rejuvenation to Patreon as of late, meaning someone doesn't mind paying, what is it, like $50 to get a private video, and they have DSP react to stuff or whatever. And apparently, DSP reacted to a video and uploaded it, knowing damn well that the video possibly could be struck down, and essentially let it happen, knowing damn well it was going to. He knew it was going to get taken down. He knew it was going to be a problem, and instead of going to the guy or whoever it was, Slayer, or whoever the person is, and being like, "Hey, how about you just go ahead and throw me another video, something that that won't get struck down, because I don't think this is going to make it." You know what I mean? Let's do something like that, so this way you get your money's worth. Nah, fuck it. I'm gonna do the work. I did the work, and if you didn't get your video, then thank you, fuck you, bye. Apparently. Wow, that's unfortunate. But that wouldn't be the first time that DSP has conned people through his Patreon. And plenty of people have called it out. Plenty of times DSP said that he wouldn't be able to refund people because it just how do you how do you distinguish between people who are actually just giving money to the Patreon monthly and those people who are donating to a particular goal? How do you discern between between these two groups of people? Yeah, even though when Freddy Boy of the SOK threw $5 down 1 month, DSP peeped game and sent that bitch right back. He didn't know what Freddy Boy's intentions were, but he refunded the money anyway. Semantics. Anywho, I would assume, being that Patreon is becoming it's still an emasculated and inebriated cow, if you will. It's not really producing milk. It's producing some type of sloth that one might consider it to be gin, and that's why DSP's kind of still pumping at it. Or the person who keeps giving him money to react to videos really is... There has to be some type of long-term con to that. He's clearly building up to something, I would hope. You're gonna have him react to an old Tevin video, maybe. You're building up to something, I hope, instead of just sending him K-pop and whatever else. We'll see. Time will tell. But anyway, I'm not surprised that someone got piggy finessed out of their money from Patreon. It's a long-standing situation. DSP has been abusing Patreon for the longest, and thank God for pig luck or people just not caring so much. Can't blame them. Entertainment is entertainment. They just kind of let it go. But let's go back to 2017 and see what he was doing with Patreon, shall we? Here we go.
What would be called a sedentary lifestyle, meaning, all day I'm sitting here playing games with you guys. You need to take breaks to get up and move. If you don't, there's a lot of health hazards. Number one, I have a back injury, and just sitting around not moving can actually make it worse. Number two, there's risk of, if you can believe it, blood clots, heart issues. If you're just sitting all day long and not getting up, that's a problem. So I need to start taking breaks again. I know for the past week I really haven't been taking breaks when playing Destiny 2. I have to start doing that again. Alright?
Now, keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I know, he was drinking himself to death, or he was attempting to, I guess, and he had all kinds of other problems. He had to figure out how to get the washing machine going. He had these filthy, disgusting blankets that were on the bed because, well, you guys know why. He was drinking himself all crazy. If he could carry his fat ass upstairs, he plopped himself on the bed, and he was probably sweating at night because there's no air conditioning, and all of that sweat, all of that disgusting pig grease went ahead and essentially seeped onto the blanket and then seeped into the blankets. Because, just in case you guys don't know the lore, right before Catherine was we didn't know her name was Catherine at the time. Right before this special lady in DSP's life showed up, DSP said on a couple pre-streams that he needed to start cleaning up the house. And he had to do all these different things, and he had to buy these different things or whatever. And he said that he had 2 or 3 blankets that him and Panda actually bought at probably some type of game convention many years ago. And they all stink. They all were disgusting. It smelled horrible. And he said he had to wash these blankets. And keep in mind, he didn't know how to use the washing machine fully either, so keep that in mind. Maybe he forgot to put detergent in it. Maybe he didn't know how much detergent to put in. Maybe he just thought hot water and that was it. Maybe he didn't even use hot water. Who knows? Point being is he threw these 3 blankets into or 2 or 3 blankets into the washing machine to wash them. And he said they came out and they still smelled. He just couldn't get the smell out. So one would think, because he just spent a lot of money on these blankets, and you would think these blankets would have some type of sentimental value, you could maybe just take it to a cleaner and have them do it. No, after DSP failed, as usual, he gave up on it and just threw them away. Now, as I said, because DSP was drinking heavily, and I would assume on the few nights he could make it back upstairs and he just plopped himself on his bed, pig in the blanket type situation, if you will, all of that disgusting body odor, because keep in mind, just in case you guys don't remember, DSP only bathes once a week, and apparently Wings only bathes once a week too. All we need is Rich, and then we got a trifecta of just slop. Anyway, but I'm it's true about Wings only bathing once a week. That's kind of crazy. Anyway, DSP would just throw himself onto the bed, and that's it. So all of that got wrapped up in these blankets. He essentially ruined these blankets. And when he couldn't fix the problem, he just tossed them. I would assume he tossed most of his bed sheets away to accommodate for Kat on those first couple of visits. I think she came and visited him 2 or 3 times before she finally moved in. Which means, ladies and gentlemen, he had to have been courting her for a while. You know what I'm saying? He had to build up to that. You know what I mean? Yes, we understand the girl's autistic, so is DSP, but I don't think you're just going to invite a woman into, or any person into your home after like a month or 2. It took time to build that up. And then my question is, what did she tell Subaru Man to convince him to let her go? Just something to think about.
So, I appealed to my patrons, and I said, listen.
Oh, my bad. Back to my original point. This guy he could have woken up early, or during his breaks, he could have gone out and walked. You know what I'm saying? He had plenty of opportunities to do it. But it's funny how he only wants to do it during his quote-unquote work hours. Like, this is just part of his actual workload, if you will. You notice how he doesn't want to do anything extra or anything outside of his quote-unquote work day or his work hours? Never thinks about trying to do extra anything. But then, if you go back to when he was at the helicopter company, and he had to do all kinds of work off the clock, supposedly, it makes sense because this idiot was coming to work hungover, or he was falling asleep at his office, or he was just fucking around because, you know, he thought he was protected by daddy. And they had to assign him a laptop so he could finish the shit at work, because apparently he didn't have the social cues, or he didn't have the attention span to do it there. You see how that works out? Kind of makes a lot of sense, don't you? So it's funny how, yet again, he's supposed to be his own boss, but the same parameters and the same things that had him locked into the 9-to-5 grind, he took those shackles, if you will. He took those shackles and reapplied it to himself when he's, quote-unquote, being his own boss and running his own business. That's wild. He didn't give himself any more freedom. He found another way to shackle himself in a fucked up situation, quote-unquote. It's fucked up because he messed himself up. In a fucked up situation, and in turn, he came out, or it produced, I should say, subpar results. No different than when he was at the helicopter company, at Circuit City, at Best Buy, at the whatever restaurant he was at, that he was tossing salad, so on and so forth. You know what I mean? Like, his work ethic never changed. It always stayed the same no matter where he went. So he took a situation that could have allowed him to grow, or give him some growth as a person, I should say. And he fucked it all up. He completely squandered every opportunity that was given to him. And then he can't really make opportunities of his own. Because if you really think about it, if you're talking about like how he facilitates these goals and these tip goals and these marathons and this, that, and the third, those aren't his ideas. They're always someone else's. Shit, he's taken detractor ideas as well. So how has DSP grown and changed over the years? There was always someone there to push him along, to push him forward, to even drag him forward if need be. Detractor and dent alike. Something to think about.
You know, I think it's going to make sense for you guys to vote for Super Mario Sunshine now. In addition to just the concerns that 3 Mario games back-to-back don't make sense. Also, if you guys aren't aware, this is actually the best time right now to be putting out videos on YouTube, starting right now and through December, because this is the big advertisement-heavy season. This is the time when most YouTubers go gung-ho into YouTube, because they know if they put out videos now, they're going to make the most amount of money. For me...
Not if you're not getting the views. So, let's paint this scenario a little bit. So, at this time, he was planning on playing Mario Odyssey, and I think Mario plus Rabbids. And then they voted, the patrons voted for Mario Sunshine. Now, here's the thing. DSP, at this time, I don't think anybody really could, to be honest with you, at this time. Unless you were under an MCN or whatever, but even then. Anyway, at this time, you couldn't monetize Nintendo's intellectual property on YouTube. Right? You could post it, but you couldn't actually monetize it. So, the drive for these games, one, because they're new titles and he thinks that's going to bring people to Twitch, or there's going to be people already on Twitch that are going to watch him play it, because these are new releases. The Mario Sunshine situation was kind of a slap to the snout, if you will. Not even a slap to the snout. It's really a combination if you think about it, because you got 2 games that he can't monetize on YouTube, and then now he has a 3rd game that he definitely can't monetize on YouTube, and it's an older game, and he doesn't have the peripherals to play it. So, which makes it even more hilarious. So, how did the Mario Sunshine situation come about? Well, one, even though the game did win, I should say, he dropped it. He lessened its priority and decided to play Spyro the Dragon, I think. But he said because Mario Sunshine won the actual poll, he would play it. He would just play it at a later time, and pushed it back months. And a lot of people think, myself included at that time, that he was trying to memory hole it and essentially hope that they forgot, run with Spyro, and then keep it pushing. Didn't happen. Here's the fucked up part about it, which only reinforces what people were saying at that time, that DSP had no intention of playing the game. When detractors, trolls, haters, and critics went ahead and put them hoofs over the fire, and he started to cook, and he started to drip, he ended up coming out and admitting he didn't have a Nintendo GameCube. I'm pretty confident. Yeah, it's a GameCube, because one of my favorite games on the GameCube is Mario Kart Double Dash. It's a damn shame they never remade that game. Anywho, he didn't have a GameCube, he didn't have the game itself, and he didn't have the wires needed to run it through his video capture card so he could, actually play it. At the end of the day, it cost him about $135, maybe $140 for everything. He had no intention of spending that money at all. And he was actually rather pissed off that he had to do it. He even threw out the idea that, maybe it'll come on Virtual Console, and then I'll just play it then. That could have been years down the line if that even ever happened, if you think about it. So there was really no intention to play that game at all. And he got really pissed off that it happened. And he was pissed off his whole playthrough of it. Hated it. He pushed it off as far as he could. Then when he was finally forced to do it, he was heated. He was miserable that whole playthrough. Gotta tell you, it's one of the best playthroughs ever if you want to catch some rage and some salt, because he was mad as hell having to play that goddamn game. He really, what I'm saying? I think he enjoyed the game, but I think he was mad that he had to play it. He was mad that he had to play it. And then the whole time he said, I'm giving you guys 2 playthroughs. I'm giving you guys 2 playthroughs. You guys need to support this because I don't get any money on YouTube. Fuck Nintendo. Yet he was the same cuck who wanted to play Mario Odyssey and Mario Plus Rabbids, knowing damn well that he couldn't monetize those. So whose fault is that really? Remember, he's the businessman. Keep that in mind.
Real talk with all of you.
This is one of the most important times of the year because whatever videos I put out now make a big lump of income for me.
That then allows me to survive through the slower months of early the next year. For example, typically in January and February, ad revenue dips really bad on YouTube. So I have a few great months at the end of the year and then a few bad months, but it usually levels out because of the fact that I made so much early on, okay? However,
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to interject. How is it that it would level out when you don't know how to save? Your monthly expenses, especially during the holidays, are more than likely going to go up. His spending is going to go up, I should say. And his ability to make money is actually going to drop because he's lacking viewership. So how is that going to balance out? I feel like he was lying to himself. I think that obviously in his early years, that's how it was. But yet again, if you don't have the views, right, what makes you think you're going to get the better ads? And then DSP was under this delusion, I should say, that, you know, everybody gets the same type of ads across the board, especially after he got dropped from Machinima and after he got dropped from Curse. But anybody who knows anything knows that's bullshit. Clearly. Those who do well on YouTube will always get the better ads. Period. Period. MCN or not. So the fact that DSP was feeding himself this lie too just goes to show how out of the spectrum he really was, and his lack of understanding the business. You know what I'm saying? That's the crazy part, because he cries and complains about how YouTube is always changing. Just because they didn't tell you how ads work, if you will, especially around this time, doesn't mean that you can automatically, it gives you consent to just keep moving forward like it's always been. It doesn't work that way. And that's the reason why he's fucked up now. So if he was screwing himself over like this on YouTube, just imagine how he was undercutting himself or shortchanging himself on Twitch. And more importantly, it gives you an idea of how he shortchanges himself in life in general. Because he's still your typical, he's your typical consumer, right? Let's reword that. He's a sheepish consumer. He's the type of person who believes that if it has to be a brand name and if it's the most expensive, it has to be at the top of the line. Even though you could get something that's mid-grade and just go ahead and mess with the settings or whatever, and it could be just as good. It might even last longer too. It depends on what you're shopping for, of course. There's some variables in that. But he's literally what corporations want. They want the village idiot who has more money than they can really afford to spend. And as long as you keep throwing shit into his face, he'll buy it, even if he doesn't need it, even if he doesn't even know, even if he doesn't know and or understand how to use it. Just keep throwing it in his face. Just keep tossing it in his face, and he'll buy it eventually. If he can't come up with the money now, they will eventually figure out how to get the money to do it. Does that not sound like DSP to some degree? Because if you think about it, that's probably how WWE Champions works. And I wonder what kind of promotional stuff they send to him through his email or whatever the case may be to keep him playing. Or what they had used in the past, I should say, to kind of motivate him to keep him playing. I would assume it's not too far off from what he uses on his own audience to keep them giving him money. Something about it.
I play Mario Sunshine, if you guys aren't aware. I can't monetize it on YouTube. Why? Because Nintendo claims all first-party Nintendo videos on YouTube. Alright? And that being said, that's terrible, because this is the time of the year when I really do need to, in order to actually keep things going, to keep the business running, to be able to keep doing this as a job, folks, and be able to provide you with these daily gameplay streams and videos on YouTube. Alright? I need to basically do the best thing for the business right now in order to keep it going. Because the bottom line is, if I play a bunch of games I can't make any money on now, and then come January, I can't make any money because YouTube ad revenue's down, I won't be here anymore. That's just being matter of fact, folks. That's just being matter of fact. That's not me trying to blow the situation out of proportion or being overdramatic. That's me being real with you. You know, when you make these decisions, we have to realize that you have to do the best thing so that I can still be here tomorrow. Now, the thing is, I could have made the decision and said, alright, well, now I'm banning Mario Sunshine from the running completely. And you know what would have happened if I did that? Here's what would have happened. Massive backlash, because the patrons would have said, but that was the game we nominated the most, and you're banning it? That's not fair, right? So, what I did is I made a poll based on the nominations, and it just so happens that the poll is going to end this weekend. This Sunday, actually, is when I'm going to close the poll. Alright? And of course, Mario Sunshine is winning the poll. Of course, I found out. I actually looked into it. And yes, it is true that many legitimate patrons, you know, people who are fans of mine...
Now, I really want you to take this part in, because he was trying to find any way he could to get out. First off, he essentially said, hey, you guys don't give me money, this all goes away. Fear-mongering, and then paywalling. Typical shit that DSP does. Then, the Mario Sunshine situation. Yet again, let's go back to that, because it's a whole saga in itself. This idiot was like, okay, I don't know why you guys keep voting for this, because I can't make any money off of it. You guys have no choice but to support the streams to make it worthwhile. Then he tried to go back, essentially. He tried to go back and try to essentially blow up, no pun intended, tried to blow up the actual poll results, or the ongoing polling, I should say, to try to see if he could fearmonger people into, or not even fearmongering, let's say fearmongering, no, he wanted to cast doubt. There's actually a word for it, but I can't think of it at the moment. He was trying to cast doubt on the validity of the poll, of the voting, I should say, to try to see if he could undercut Mario Sunshine, so he wouldn't have to play it, knowing damn well that it was winning from Jump Street. And to be honest with you, that's the only reason why he let Mario Sunshine even get into the runnings in the first place, because that was driving in the money on Patreon. He knew it, but he was going to try to finesse them in the end. Oh, well, there was too many illegitimate votes, and I can't tell the difference between what's real and what isn't. He's done that before. Now he's sitting here saying, oh, well, I actually looked at the polling, and there is a lot of legitimate voting or whatever. And I think what it was is they were already he'd already gotten paid for the goal. So he's assuming that, okay, how can I somehow keep that interest, in turn it into actual money while not playing this goddamn game? He literally spent a couple of weeks trying to figure out how that was going to go, or at least a week or two. It makes you wonder if, as Tevin would probably say, what if he actually tried to, what if he actually tried to do better? Would he actually be able to accomplish it? Because the way the hoops, the mental gymnastics he goes through to try to finesse people, it really just makes you think. But to be honest with you, I'll be honest with you, because I don't, there's no hope for people like him. No, he'd still fail. He'd still figure out a way to fuck up. DSP can't do anything on the up and up. It has to be on his terms. He can't be honest with you. He can't play it straight with you. He can't be legitimate with you. People to him are meant to be taken advantage of. We're not equals. You're beneath him. He goes ahead and kicks you that poor man bullshit about, oh, I'm the average man and I'm the average gamer, I should say, and I'm just like you guys. You know what I'm saying? I want to play it day one. I want to buy it and I want to enjoy it just like you guys do. You guys aren't on the same level. You're not making what he's making, doing what he's doing. What's he talking about? If that was the case, if he is the common man, the common gamer, then why don't he motivate any of you guys to do what he does? Even if it's just a side hustle. Doesn't the common man want to see other common men and women come up? So maybe you guys aren't so common anymore? I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I actually believe in the idea of a community, and he doesn't really know what that is. Maybe he really just wants sheeple. Maybe he really just believes that people should be taken advantage of, and then when they're not useful anymore, just ditch them. Maybe he really does believe in that. Maybe that comes back to his religious values. I don't know.
Alright. And of course, Mario Sunshine is winning the poll. Of course, I found out. I actually looked into it. And yes, it is true that many legitimate patrons, people who are fans of mine, did actually vote for it. At the same time, there was a group of assholes, a group of, yes, detractors, who actually are paid patrons of mine on purpose so that they can skew voting in a situation like this, and they all voted for it too on purpose once they saw that I asked to please now vote for it. So here's what we're gonna do. I did a compromise with everybody, okay? And people seem to like it. People are, the patrons are really liking the compromise, because basically it's a win-win for everyone. It's basically me going above and beyond what's expected of me with this Patron's Choice playthrough. So allow me to explain. What I'm gonna do is on Sunday night, alright? On Sunday night, I'm going to close the poll. And we're gonna find out what's going on with it, what's the final results.
Oh my god, excuse me.
More than likely, Mario Sunshine's going to win the poll, alright? But then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna see what came in second place. Right now, I haven't checked the poll this morning, but as of last night, I checked it. So I should have said as of last night. The second place of the poll is actually Spyro 1. Now, this is interesting, because I have never played a Spyro game before, ever. I don't even know, I mean, apparently it's an action platformer, but that's all I know. I've never played a Spyro game ever before, okay? So that could certainly be interesting to see how that goes, if that is the game that wins. I think the other games that are in the running right behind Spyro are Manhunt 1, as well as, I think it's like SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom Bay.
Okay, let me cut it. So, you see how he's like, a bunch of you idiots, because let's go ahead and paint the scenario. Alright, you guys voted for Mario Sunshine. I'm already playing 2 Nintendo games that I'm not going to be able to be monetized. Now you guys have chosen a third one that I can't monetize. I wish you guys would fucking listen, but you guys are being fucking idiots. I had to go back and look at the actual voting to see if it's on the up and up. It is. Now, here's where the plot comes into play. Not only is there legitimate people, legitimate fans, who actually want to see Mario Sunshine, but there's fucking detractors that are paid Patreon supporters as well. And they voted for the damn thing too, just to fuck me over and make me, look bad and so on and so forth. So now I want to give you guys a compromise. The compromise is Mario Sunshine is going to win, but Spyro's coming up second. Well, I've never played this game before. I don't know really too much about it. So now he's trying to present it to them like this is the next new frontier, if you will, and he's trying to motivate people to, hey, why don't some of you guys who haven't contributed to Patreon yet vote for that so we can beat Mario out, right? And so I can give you guys a quote-unquote legitimate patron's choice, right? While also trying to slide the idea of, well, we might still be able to play Mario. Just, but maybe, for some of you guys who realize I'm not going to be able to make any money off this playthrough directly, or at least through ad revenue, maybe you guys should vote for this. And that'd be very much appreciated. And because he, quote unquote, doesn't have any experience with it, we would have these new experiences together. It'd be great. At the same time, right, he's also damn sure he's trying to undercut the validity of this patron's goal altogether. It's almost as if he's trying to pitter-pat his ass around this situation and be like, I really kind of just want to get rid of this. This is toxic. This is nonsense. It's not working out. I mean, Jesus Christ, he's already got the money. So if he sits there and says, hey, I had to go ahead and drop the whole Patreon goal because, fuck it, there was just too many problems. Why wouldn't he? So you can kind of see how his mind is working and how he's looking for an out. You know what I'm saying? But then again, he's scared of the backlash. He's been conditioned at this point, even from an outside circumstance, that, you know what, if I do this, these people are really going to come down on my neck and I'm going to have to deal with it for weeks or months, into the future. I don't know if I want to deal with that. That's ironic, though, because he says that detractors, trolls, haters, and critics have no control over him. They have no validity over him. I remember Theo did a video on that a long-ass time ago, calling that bullshit out. But yet, you see him right here directly being affected by a bunch of people that he don't know. And how is he able to distinguish? Let's use that one. How is he able to distinguish who is a detractor and who isn't? Through Patreon. Those people could be actual legitimate fans and new pledges. But he's sitting here saying that he can identify each and every one of those people who were detractors. Something to think about.
bouncing baby bullshit or something. I don't know what the game is called, but it's a SpongeBob game, alright? So, here's what's going to happen. Whatever gets second place is going to be the Patron's Choice playthrough for now, meaning, like I said, once I start wrapping up these new releases that I'm playing right now when we get a little bit of downtime, it's going to be whatever gets second place in the poll will be the Patron's Choice playthrough.
That way, I can play it, I can monetize it.
It's not another Mario game that'll burn everyone out from watching it, and it'll be a fun playthrough for the now, alright? I am agreeing that because of this extenuating circumstances, that Super Mario Sunshine will be played. However, it will be played at a later date. More than likely, it's going to be in January, when we have tons of downtime. Typically, January is one of these very, very slow gameplay months. Typically, January and July are usually the 2 gameplay months. There's almost no new releases, nothing really going on. There's usually several weeks in January when there's just nothing happening. And that will be the time when I play Mario Sunshine, okay? So I'm making this commitment so that it's a win-win for everyone. We get a fun Patron's Choice playthrough now that I can actually monetize and doesn't burn everybody out. And then, come January, I play Super Mario Sunshine, which it seems a lot of people want to see. Okay? Sounds good? So again, win-win. The patrons are getting what they want, plus they're getting another playthrough. So basically, they're getting 2 playthroughs for the price of 1. And I'll just throw this out there.
Yeah, but the playthrough that people really want is being pushed damn near 4 months out. How many people do you think would actually remember that? Let me give you guys an example. Hypothetical Pignosis, our favorite game. Let's say I promised you guys right now. I don't make promises though, because you can't keep promises. So let's say I said, hey, you know all of DSP's Street Fighter 6 beta footage? I want to go through all of it. I want to break it down. That's 6 days worth of stuff, yeah? And let's say we're in December now. So let's say in April, around DSP's birthday, right, only a few months before the game actually comes out, because the game comes out June 2nd, I believe. I'll go over it. I think it's June 2nd, I think. Don't quote me on that. I could be off. But I'll go over all of his footage, do a breakdown. It'll be fun. Okay? That's 4 months out. Do you know what can happen in 4 fucking months? A lot. For any of you guys who are normal, everyday people who don't live in a fucking bubble, right, and are perpetually sniffing their own farts, you understand that shit happens. A lot of shit can happen in 4 months. A lot. So, me promising something 4 fucking months out seems a bit ridiculous. And I would guarantee that 70 to 80% of you would forget. And the other 20% probably would lose interest by then anyway. Because there's so many other shenanigans that could come out at around that time, or around that time, that might seem more interesting to you. You see the logic that this piece of garbage tried to use? And the thing is he's betting against himself. Because just because some of the local fanboys don't remember, don't mean these detractors, trolls, haters, and critics won't. So he's essentially betting against himself, hoping that not only his own fan base, but to be honest with you, his fan base is not even they're not even valued in this equation, so they don't really even matter. He's hoping that the detractors, trolls, haters, and critics completely forget about this shit, so he can go ahead and zero it out. That's literally what he was betting on. And the fact that he had to buy the peripherals at the last goddamn minute proves that. But yet again, just something to think about. It gives you an idea of how this idiot's mind works and how lazy he is with his own cons. You know what I mean? Just like I said earlier, Tevin pointed out once that, hey, where could he really be if he actually tried? But Tevin also said, how much better would some of these con jobs he likes to pull off, how much better would they be if he actually put effort into that too? Makes you think.
There he is. I knew this was going to happen as soon as I started talking about this. You know there's some people complaining in the stream chat? You want to notice something about them? They're not patrons. These people aren't patrons. The people who are complaining are, guess who?
The same people who troll voted for Super Mario Sunshine. The detractors, the assholes. They want to stir up drama where it doesn't exist.
Wait a second, you mean the same trolls who paid the $5 so they could vote? sorry. The SnortBucks is kind of hot, so you know what I'm saying. I'm trying, you know what I'm saying. This new hot chocolate that we're kind of experimenting with. So my bad. Let me just go ahead and get back to this video.
I'm gonna spin this for the past couple of days, saying that I'm not going to play Super Mario Sunshine, and they've been spreading this drama all over the internet. It's completely false. It's actually the complete polar opposite. The patrons are getting double what they actually pledged for. They're getting double, 2 for the price of 1. But instead, they want to lie and say the complete opposite and say that they're not getting what they want. So they're fuckers. They're stupid fuckers. They lie all the time on purpose to try to make me look bad. And that's why I've been trying to tell people for days, don't listen to what they say. It's not true. And I will explain it when I'm ready to explain it, which I finally am.
I mean, when he was trying to figure out the con. Another thing, and I think I actually said this around this time, that another reason why we can go ahead and essentially send pigs flying with this Mario Sunshine playthrough is maybe we were trying to cherry pick. Maybe we were trying, not cherry pick, maybe we were trying to double tap. And maybe we were going to go ahead and push it 4 months out, 5 months out, 6 months out to where they all forget, and then see if we can make it a Patreon goal again. And maybe we might be willing to play it, later on down the line too. He's saying 2 for the price of 1. I mean, if you think everybody in your audience are suckers, why wouldn't you try to go for another lick? Something about.
So, there you go. That's what's going to happen. I'm excited to see what wins the poll. Right now, it looks like it's going to be Spyro 1. And then, we'll see what happens. I'll let everyone know on Sunday night when I actually close off that poll. I'll let everyone know exactly what actually won, okay?
Coming up in early October, I'm going to be taking some time off. There's actually a 1-week time period where there's 0 new releases.
Shout out to Ornite who did a 10-bit cheer. He said,
now, given our conversation about Catherine last night, I think you guys know where I'm going with this, right? I think you guys know why I picked it out. Just trying to, give you guys an idea of the timeline. So this is another one of those staycations we had. I think we had like 2 or 3 of them leading up to when Catherine finally got there. Because actually, this one's in September. Yeah, this one was in September. And then he ended up having her over in December. I'm pretty confident there was one more visit that they had between October and November. It might not have been in November, though. It could have been in October, maybe. Actually, no. I want to say it was in October, but I could be wrong. But I do know that she did help him pick out his costume. But that very well could have been on the staycation that was coming up. The point is, this thing has already been, established or whatever. But for those who may have forgotten, just to give you an idea. That's what all these staycations were. He was sitting there telling you, "Oh, I'm exhausted. I'm sick. I need a break. I need all these just pathetic excuses." And in actuality, there was a reason behind it. And he wonders why no one trusts him.
any weird neighbors in your area that does anything unordinary that's not right? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Really, I only know very few of my neighbors because I've been so busy with work since I moved here. I honestly haven't had a lot of time to meet the neighbors. I mean, I have a next door neighbor to my right who is a retired employee of Boeing. It's an aeronautical industry. I believe she's in her 50s or 60s. So she doesn't work. She's retired. You have to think she's in her 60s. She doesn't work. And so she does a lot of the maintenance around here. Like, she does a lot of the yard work and stuff, like, gardening and stuff like that for the facility. And then to my left, it's a bunch of younger people, about my age, actually. And I know there's a married couple, as well as they have another person, I guess, who rents a room there. I'm not sure. But they have 2 dogs. They're nice people. But I don't really, we don't interact. We barely ever see each other. It's just we're in and out, going in and out of the houses. Maybe we'll see each other every once in a while. But it's not like I spend any significant time with these people. I don't really know anything about any of my other neighbors. At all. They're all inside. They're very private, Not to say that they don't have events. They do have events like, oh, come to the board meetings or whatever. But I'm too busy. I can't do that stuff. I'm here every day working, folks. So I don't get really to be social with my neighbors or anything like that. Don't know too much about them. But I can tell you, no, I don't know if any of them are doing weird shit. Some people wonder, gee, I wonder how Phil's neighbors react when they hear him yelling and screaming while he plays games, right? Well, this is funny. The other day, I was actually power washing my driveway. And I asked my neighbor, I said, I'm just curious, do you ever hear me when I'm in my office working? And she said, no. When I first moved here, she did hear me all the time, but it seemed like it stopped. I said, I know why. Because in 2015, when I started Patreon, right, I bought all the soundproofing foam for my office. So in 2015, I bought all this soundproofing foam, and it works.
Now,
So
let me add some clarity to this. Now, him power washing actually did happen because there was a Patreon video that has been leaked. It's on a couple of the Tractor channels, I'm sure, or it's been re-uploaded, where he was power washing while he was doing this Patreon video for somebody. So that kind of corroborates. Also, the pressure washer isn't his. It belongs to the woman next door. The same woman who essentially was watching out for the house and was helping to coordinate stuff between himself and the old owner of the home before him and Panda moved out there, because she's linked to the homeowners association. So there's a bit of a tie in there. Here's the interesting part. You guys remember when Catherine got there that first year, and even probably before that, people were like, hey, you say you have no time to ever clean up your office. Why don't you clean it up at night? Oh, I can't do that. The neighbors will hear it. There are sound quotas, or there are sound critiques here, and you can't make certain noise. You can't make a lot of noise around certain times or whatever, because you'd be in violation of certain rules of the community or whatever the case may be. Which there may be some validity to that, but you hear him yelling and screaming and bitching, complaining, especially, back in the early days. So it makes you think, or it makes you wonder. Why would you lie about not being able to clean your own fucking room that you keep bitching and complaining about because you said that it keeps messing with your nasal drip and your allergies and shit? But yet you admit right here that your neighbor doesn't hear anything because of the quote-unquote soundproofing that someone else bought for him, by the way. The patrons did. I don't know. Something about it.
Why no one hears me? Because I got all the soundproofing foam to absorb the noise. So my neighbors don't hear me. That's good. As opposed to in Connecticut, in my condo where I used to live, that place, the walls were like paper. You could hear everything above, to the sides, everything. So that's why it's awesome that I live here and I have, this office. A lot of people say, oh, I don't see the benefit. Well, that's because you don't live here. That's because you don't understand. You're talking from an outsider perspective. Alright, shout out to Chairman Caleb who did a 20-bit cheer. He says, you've been doing the permanent webcam stream for a while. I'm assuming you like to set up better because you haven't gone back. Personally, it's better seeing you and your reactions to the game. I'll be honest with you, Chairman Caleb. This is my God's honest truth.
Honestly, I prefer not doing the webcam.
Reason being, because when I'm doing the webcam, people demand that I wear some kind of a nice shirt every day. Phil must wear a nice shirt for stream. Phil should be brushing his hair for stream. It's like, dude, I'm just sitting down to play a video game. For me, it's like, why am I doing myself up to play a game? You know what I mean? But the thing is, there's so many streamers who would literally treat their streams like entertainment shows that they do. They fucking have lighting, and they put makeup on their fucking faces. They dye their hair. They do all this crazy shit that I don't do. Alright? But I knew earlier this year.
I know. I'm a very sneaky pup. But you guys just had this conversation recently, too. Where DSP was talking about how he doesn't understand why people make a big deal of him running around in his piss-stained pajamas, and why he doesn't feel the need to clean himself up for his streams, i.e., present yourself in a better way, in a more presentable way and shit. And he was talking about, oh, well, why do I need to wear a business suit or a nice shirt or anything like that? It's not needed. It's not necessary. Sorry, I'm just trying to give you guys a comparison. I'm trying to be sneaky about it, but, it is what it is.
I knew that when I was going to be adopting a more full-time streaming kind of a mentality, and that I was going to be focusing more on the live interactive audience than on YouTube, that people were going to want to see me on webcam because it had already become the standard for live streamers. Not to say that all of them do it. There are still some streamers who don't use webcam at all, which, that's like a holdout audience, honestly, because most of them do it now. But I knew people would say, oh man, Phil's really not taking this seriously if he doesn't use webcam all the time. And honestly, it's not more work for me. The webcam's set up. It does it automatically. It's not like, you know what I mean? It's not like I have to go out of my way to make the webcam work. It's not a ton of extra work or anything like that. So, it is what it is. That's why I do it. It's not because I like it. It's because people seem to like to see me on camera. Like you just said, I think they like to see my live reactions. They like to see that versus kind of guessing how I'm reacting. There's been a lot of moments this year. Alright? There's a lot of moments this year that have been accentuated by the fact I think that there was a webcam on, right? You have to see my live reaction to something. Alucard just said the most ridiculous out-of-place comment ever. You ready? Well, Lyric doesn't do that, and he has 30,000 viewers at a time, always. LOL. Yeah, Lyric, the guy who's been a full-time streamer for a bajillion years, was known for full-time streaming. You know, the guy who makes a living doing it for multiple years, and therefore he has a giant holdout audience, and people go to him because he's the go-to guy for.
I mean, you can call him a holdout audience if you want, but I mean, you could have been right there too before you took your snorts and went home, because they told you to bring down your bitrate. And the reason why that comment triggered him is because of just that. If he wasn't a little bitch back in the day, and when that administrator came into his chat and was like, hey, I need you to bring your bitrate down, if he just did it, he wouldn't, what's done is done. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, the quality standards were going to go up for everybody anyway. You're not special. You're not part of the chosen few. You're not the golden child or whatever the fuck you want to call it. So do what needs to be done. He didn't want to do that. He just wanted to bitch and complain, and then he took his snorts and went home. So all those years that he missed out being on Twitch, everybody moved up, everybody got bigger and better, and when he went back in late 2016, because they had better monetization options, yet again, as usual, he was stuck behind the 8 ball because he'd been out of the mix too damn long. And then he wasn't willing to work harder. You remember what he said yesterday, talking about, you know, I go hard already, I can't go any harder. That's so pathetic. Anyway, if he was actually willing to work harder and actually make the adjustments that were needed to be made, he might have been able to put himself in a better position instead of begging for bits. Oh, good times, good times.
For so long.
Of course! Duh!
Hold on, let me say something else that makes so common sense. The sky is blue when there's no clouds in it. Let's see, grass is green. In general, it's usually green.
It's like, gee, let me quote, but PewDiePie doesn't do something, but he gets millions and millions of it. Well, because he's the biggest fucking YouTuber, stupid. I mean, hold on, let me do...
If you're gonna type an actual message like that, like, just save your energy. It's such a silly, ridiculous thing to say.
I prefer a penne. Oh! Easy to eat. Oh! Phil's a faggot. Phil's fat. Phil's a loser. Phil's a beggar. Alright, I'm not dead, but I swear to God, I wish I fucking was.
I agree. Hurtful. Just hurtful. Well, we could cut it there, or we could go for round 2. So I'll make sure that the editor puts a timestamp in between these two, so you guys can, you know. So there's go ahead and separate that, kind of make it seem like we're professional. But we do have a second part to this, which should be fun. So I will see you guys in literally just a second.
This is how to play the game.
I'm using a new controller tonight. You may say, well, what controller are you using? I am using a current...
Oh boy, Phil, that's about the last bit of kindness you're gonna get out of me. It's time to start cutting up this holiday bacon. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are gonna go... we're gonna go... Oh boy. We're here yet again, as you can see, with Burnell. KO Gaming / DSP Gaming. No more comments on DSP Gaming. This is from September 15th of 2017. The link will be yet again down in the description. There's a reason why I'm not playing it out of order. You guys will see it. You guys may see it. Here we go.
Generation PS4 controller.
I got it off of Amazon for $45. Reason that I got this controller, it's twofold, basically. Alright, I'll give you guys a little bit of history. I own controllers from all 3 generations of PS4 controller. If you weren't aware, there are 3 generations, alright? The first generation were the launch controllers. These were all faulty, which, in my opinion, I think there should have been a class action lawsuit against Sony. I don't know how the hell they got away with it, but the thumbsticks were faulty. The thumbsticks on the launch controllers, within 6 to 8 months, just the oils from your thumb, your skin, would basically make the rubber break down, and the thumbsticks would crumble and fall apart, making the controller unplayable. Alright? So
couple of things. One, Didn't DSP order himself a controller or something along the lines recently? Something like that, right? I think. I can't remember if it was before the new TV or afterwards. So we have a bit of coordination with that. Secondly, this controller nonsense. Let's talk about that because that shit's always fun. One, going back to the DSP being the common man, the common gamer. Most people don't get to play, don't have the opportunity to play, I should say, as often as DSP does. Two, the flappening has taught all of us his incident. You don't wash your hands. So whatever acidity from your piggy juice and your piss, and then whatever other dirt and grime you have, melted those controller paddles, or at least the rubber around them. Not paddles, but the actual sticks themselves. Melted those things around there. Plus your hooves are all misshapen and shit. Let's be honest, pigs weren't meant to play on a controller. So there's issues there too. But here's the thing. He is so dead set on trying to come across as being normal, while also saying that he's not normal. He's unique. He's not average. He's above average. That he would sit here and bitch and complain about something like this. Now, it was different for some of your casual Call of Duty people who were sitting there and having these issues after like 3 months. 3 months is one thing. 9 months for you is completely different. And then, like I said, between dirt and oil that naturally, comes, and perspiration that comes off of people's hands is one thing. But then you're a pig, a disgusting pig. So your situation is just slightly different than everybody else's. But he never conveys that to you. It's funny how he only wants to be common when it comes to this group shit. But then when the group he feels is fucking up, he wants to separate himself, and he's unique and he's different and he's better, and he's willing to go against the grain, if you will. Make of that what you will.
Two of those, sadly, because at launch, I wanted 2 controllers. If you remember, I did a lot of co-op and launch day coverage with John Rambo back in the day for the PS4 launch, and a lot of that kind of stuff, and therefore, I needed 2 controllers, right? So then, after both thumbsticks on those controllers crumbled and fell apart, I heard there was a second wave of controllers about a year after the launch of PS4 that corrected the issue. So I went out and got one of those, and that's the one that I've been using since then. And, we're talking, that was a year after PS4 launch, would have been 2004, or, 2014, either like late 2014, early 2015, right? And that controller is a white controller, and I've used that controller since then. So that's over 2.5 years straight. Every PS4 game that I've used or played, I've played on this one controller.
Now, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not like it's wearing out or anything. However, I have noticed that in a few...
Now, keep in mind, do you guys remember when the Switch unboxing happened? I'm sure some of you guys did. And he cleaned that terribly dusty and just disgusting setup. And then we found a whole nother controller down there under that bitch. Completely caked with dust that he didn't even know about. It was just sitting down there. So, did he really need a new controller? Yet again, something to think about.
Playing recently that there have been dropped inputs.
And the question is it the controller maybe getting old? You know what I mean? Is it because I'm using the wireless connection on the controller, the Bluetooth, and maybe there's an interference in the room here because I've got other wireless devices?
I'm going to be playing a crap ton of games on the PS4.
I think it makes sense to get a new PS4 controller at this point, knowing that I was having issues with the other one. AES tipped me $1 and then did #charity, even though if you tip and you include charity, it doesn't count. It's only if you're cheering. Hey, but I appreciate the sentiment anyway. And he says, the Nintendo Direct today was pretty amazing for Switch owners. Doom, Wolfenstein 2, Xenoblade 2, Rocket League, and Super Mario Odyssey look amazing. Now I only need to have Dragon Ball FighterZ on the console and I'll be happy. Well, there hasn't been a single game released for the Switch yet that's worth being like to buy it for. Not one. Maybe Mario Odyssey will be that game. But to me, it's like, these announcements, I hear Nintendo Direct. Phil's not talking about the Nintendo Direct.
No, remember how I was talking about sheeple early on in this? Yet again, the whole console wars thing, most people, really didn't care. It is what it is. Most people at that time, especially, owned multiple consoles and a PC anyway. So it didn't matter. But DSP tried to talk like he really wasn't feeding into it when he clearly was feeding into it. You know what I'm saying? The only reason why he has multiple consoles is because he's trying to profit from all angles. He's not loyal to anything. At all. You know what I mean? If you cut him, he bleeds gout. If I cut you, you bleed red. So there's a difference. There's a big difference. You know what I mean? But at the same time, because he still has the consumer mindset, he's a sheep. A very ugly and unwashed and maybe useless sheep, but he's still a sheep.
Announcement. It's Nintendo pretending like they have something to say, and they don't. They just basically always are behind the 8 ball these days. It sucks.
Great Waru did a 10-bit cheers.
Isn't that ironic?
Phil, I just broke up with my longtime girlfriend. How soon did you start dating again after Panda? What?
When on earth did you think I was dating? In what alternate universe did I clone myself and have one of me dating while the other one was here working? When did this happen?
Now, yet again, that's me being sneaky. Hopefully you guys will forgive me on this. But yet again, how long was he really talking to this girl? Or cat? How long was he really talking to her? And as history has taught us, as the lore has taught us, he never had an actual conversation with her on the phone. Everything was through text message or through DMs on Twitter or some shit. Until they finally met, like in person. I'm telling you, he was working that horse since January of 2017. I'm telling you, he was working that horse at least since the beginning of 2017. First quarter at the very least. If you don't want to say January, fine. But at least that first quarter of 2017. Before Panda left that house. Before she left the Snort fort. You know what I mean? Because the North remembers. DSP already had Catherine in pocket. And I stand by that. Because remember, the Snorts remember.
No. If you have any idea how I pulled this off, you see how I've been here every day. I'm here every day, and the few days that I'm not here, I'm still working anyway.
Or could we say the Gout is coming, which is a double entendre because of the incident? You know what? Never mind. I'm being petty at this point.
Yesterday was supposed to be my day off from streaming, and I did more work yesterday than I do in a normal day.
When was I dating exactly? But anyway, the bottom line is, even if I were to start dating again, I wouldn't be telling anyone because that's my private life. If I ever at some point want to share private things like that with you guys again, I will. At this point, I have no desire to. I'd rather just live my life and work my ass off and do what I do. And if ever I want to share private stuff like that with you, because it's happy news or whatever, I will. But at this point, you know, I'm at a point in my life where I saw what happened with the last relationship, and I saw the crazy amount of trolling and shit that happened. And people just getting, you know, doxing and all kinds of shit. And at this point, I'm like, well, fuck all that. If you really think that I would have shared more of that kind of personal info with you at this point, you must be nuts. You must be nuts.
I would never, even if I started dating, you would be the last to know.
Unless I was super ready to, like, you know, introduce, you know, whatever was going on there. I mean, I would be nuts. You know what happened? The second that I would announce it.
Now, listening to this piggy scramble is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. It's not that I'm not amused. But it does make me really want to go back and actually take a look and try to actually establish a timeline. It's something that can be figured out, clearly. So, I'll put it on that list. But you know what a list is. Usually just a thing. Some things that you mean to do that you never really get around to. At least for some people, anyway.
She is. We gotta find all her personal info. We gotta fucking define this and that, you know. What does she weigh? What nationality is she? Yeah. Where does she work? Quick, call her job. You know, fucked up stuff. So, no. No. Shout out to another anonymous $5 tip that I got. He says, I'm glad that you have disabled comments. Those unfunny toxic kids made me cringe. If you're not aware what this person is...
disabling comments, yet again, and it still reigns true to this very day, even though the comments are enabled, it seems like they aren't. Because he so heavily polices them that the whole comment section is just saturated. Disabling comments was by far one of the worst mistakes DSP has made in his YouTube existence. Mainly because, one, it shows, yet again, a lack of growth. He can't just, he can't just take an insult and run with it. He has to have complete and total control and what's going on around him at all times. But his justification for it, was, oh, well, PewDiePie did it. Angry Joe did it. Why can't I do it? Well, maybe because they turned it back on. When PewDiePie saw that dip, he was like, oh, and went ahead and flipped the switch and put that shit back on. Same thing with Angry Joe. When he was going through his bullshit and he had to turn that comment section off. And then he ended up turning it back on because it's like, oh no, because I'm clearly his agent, just like PewDiePie told him, hey, you fucking with revenue, you're fucking with engagement, you better turn that shit back on and deal with whatever's being said. And that's exactly what they did. DSP wanted to be the idiot to go multiple years thinking it was helping him out because Twitch was the new cash cow, and it wasn't. And then he was trying to beat out This Is How You Don't Play, which didn't help. You know what I'm saying? It didn't benefit him at all. So he fucked himself all the way around. He made the comment sections of his videos essentially useless. So now he doesn't get the hate views, nor does he get the hate engagement, as well as the regular engagement from the fan base. And everything, all the eggs, if you will, rotted or not, are all completely and totally reliant on Twitch. And when Twitch fell, what did he do? He scrambled back to YouTube. But then he's crying and complaining about the views aren't there because no one had a reason to watch the videos because they couldn't engage with the videos. So who gave a fuck? Yet again, that's present Phil fucking future Phil over at almost at every chance he can get. It's amazing. I wouldn't say I've never seen someone actually try to screw themselves over like that, because I have, but just not to such veracity, to be honest. But it's amazing to watch him do it. It's amazing to watch him do it. And every time he does that, every time future Phil or present Phil fucks over future Phil, past Phil ends up dealing with all of it. Because his quote-unquote legacy just gets chipped away, or it just rots away, or it's diminished in some type of way, shape, or form. So when he tries to go back and says, look at this, look at this, look at this, people can counter it and be like, yeah, I can, but look at that, and look at that. And that's the reason why those three things that you pointed out don't mean shit. And he has to sit there and eat it. Because DSP only cares about himself in the present. That's all he gives a shit about. And then he wonders why he doesn't have the advantages of everybody else. Jesus Christ, there are detractors out there who have better advantages on YouTube or on the internet, I should say, than DSP does. Because clearly everybody has better prospects than DSP and IRL. Makes you think.
Ladies and gentlemen, as of Monday night, so really it was the first batch of videos that were affected were Tuesday.
I've disabled comments on my DSP Gaming YouTube channel. Phil's a faggot. I'm done with it. Because it was to the point where literally no one who commented on the videos were commenting about the videos. It was just the same generic, nasty, toxic shit of kids, and it is dumb, immature teens and shit, trying to get noticed so they'll get into one of those stupid negative "this is how you don't play" compilations. Because that's what's happened, is people just leave these negative comments, and then these idiots who make those videos take those comments and, oh, look what I got, Phil's negative comments in the video. So guess what?
I've had enough. I don't read the comments on my videos anyway. I haven't read the YouTube comments in years, honestly. I mean, every once in a while I'll read the comments on, say, a vlog, but I never read the comments on my gameplay videos. I haven't in years. There's no reason to. The bottom line is,
so why would you eliminate something that you haven't had any engagement with for years anyway? On top of that, there's another reason why this is kind of pivotal in a lot of ways. Because I just saw it on Hate Army's video. He has 3 videos actually that I need to go over that pretty much chronicles DSP's hate mongering against Evil AJ, leading up to and even after DSP reacts to This Is How You Don't Play Metal Gear Solid 2. And DSP had said, oh, all Evil AJ did was cut down, the link to my videos and then put all those nasty comments up there. But the other guys, though, they were way more creative. What they did is way more transparent, and that's why they have a leg up on the original. But yet, if those guys have a leg up on the original, this is how you don't play. And if you feel that all the stuff that was going into their videos were transparent and everything, and you actually considered it as a step up, an upgrade, if you will, compared to the original, then why'd you feel the need to cut your comment section because of this is how you don't play right here? That's peculiar. And then yet again, let's go ahead and double tap this, shall we? If you haven't seen your comment section in years under your gameplay videos, why would you nuke the comment section when you know you need the engagement? Did you really think you were doing that well on Twitch, that you could go ahead and tank YouTube and it was just going to be alright? And then it's funny, it's even more funny, because if you look at, let's come back to our current timeline. DSP is bitching and complaining about how nobody on YouTube that is in his chat comments. No one's talking to him for long periods of time, and he doesn't understand why that is. Outside of the fact that it's just absolutely boring and there's nothing really going on during the gameplay, maybe, just maybe, some of them are having PTSD going back to 2017 where they tried to go to your videos and they couldn't comment on it. Or maybe the idea of you were banning people left and right for petty-ass reasons, and someone who may have not have done anything wrong, or at least they felt they didn't do anything wrong, on Monday, comes back and finds out that they're banned on Wednesday. See how present Phil is always fucking over future Phil? It is what it is, I guess.
If you're live when I'm streaming, I get to see your live reactions to what happens in my games. I don't need to read delayed reactions later, alright? The comments are terrible. I mean, really bad. And I was getting more and more people who were longtime viewers and fans of mine saying, Phil, at this point, just fuck it. Seriously, turn them off because it's terrible. There's no point to this anymore.
Wait, that doesn't even make any sense. Because if you had longtime viewers and fans who are over there talking to you in real time, why would they want to fuck over their peers who didn't make the transition from YouTube to Twitch? Why would they fuck them over on the comment section of the videos? Because DSP has said plenty of times that there are people who only want to watch the YouTube videos. They only want to interact with the YouTube videos. So why would they do that? His story really don't make any sense. It didn't make any sense back then. It definitely don't make any more sense now. Especially now that we've all seen the Gouty fallout. But, yet again, take it all in. You know what I'm saying? I know it's toxic. But take in his logic. Try to understand where he's coming from with some of this bullshit. See if you can make sense of it.
Okay. So I did. I disabled them. So there you have it. You know, moving forward, there will be no comments on my YouTube gameplay videos. If you want to comment, come to the live streams, or if you have something to say, you can email me, darksidefil@hotmail.com, or you can tweet me at theycallmeDSP. You know, there's plenty of places. There's forums, thekingofhate.com, where you can talk about ongoing playthroughs. There's a million places where you can leave feedback and or say what you want to say. I'm not going to let my comments on my YouTube videos become a cesspool
for these idiots to make negative videos anymore.
I hate to say it, folks. I think it's time for people to realize that YouTube is dying. It is, folks.
Now,
it's dying.
this is... I've been waiting for this moment a little bit, too. Let me present you guys with another reason on why we nuked the comment section. I had already presented to you guys that he was trying to get people over there on Twitch, or I alluded to it, I should say. And I didn't understand, or I presented the argument to you, why would people on Twitch want to fuck people on YouTube by, you know, taking away some of their advantages from engaging with the video? Because I think at this time, the likes and dislikes were disabled too. He was trying to funnel people over to Twitch because he was trying to get people to throw more money at him. Hey, if you got a comment or something that you really want me to engage with you on, send some bits, send a tip. You know what I'm saying? And then we can continue to have that conversation. Pay to Snorts, if you will, or pay to Snort, if you will. Sorry, this isn't some Miami cocaine den back in like the 60s and 70s and 80s and shit, but you know what I mean. That's what I think the real appeal was. I think he was willing to fuck over YouTube a little bit so he could get more on Twitch, and he thought it was going to work. And as history has taught us, it really didn't. You know what I'm saying? More people didn't contribute to him. It's just the few that he had were willing to contribute more. But I think that's I think that was his main motivation. And I think he thought he was clever, but he wasn't. But yet again, the looming threat of this is how you don't play was still on his mind. Right? And there were people in his comment section that were striking a nerve. And he had to make it go away. And that's really what it comes down to. Because one of DSP's shields when it comes to this whole content creation thing is, oh, a fan told me to get rid of it. A fan told me to stop it. Then that one fan, the next day or the day after, turns into fans. Then it was a lot of you. It was a bunch of you. Many of you reached out to me and told me to do it. Then it turns into a bunch of you reached out to me behind the scenes and said, hey, I need you guys to do this. You guys see the pattern? Because you guys have all heard this before. And that's where this logic comes from. And that's the reason why he essentially punishes them financially the way he does. He blames all of his failures onto them. Think about some of his game choices. Just because such and such is the hottest new release doesn't mean you're going to get any attention from it. Any attention whatsoever. Why would you when there's already like 2, 3, 4, 5,000 people who are already going to play it day one, if not have already been playing it, and they're already beating you out? Like, I don't know why he insists on playing God of War day one or even week one. What's the point? Excuse me. Just as with the first God of War, most of his audience, according to him, wanted to play it themselves. So his playthrough essentially became obsolete. And he didn't have enough respect for YouTube at that time to, if they went to go ahead and watch the archive was going to be shit. So what's the point in doing that? You see how he constantly kept screwing himself over? And the fact that he couldn't see this, but yet supposedly that ACE certification is what gave him the foothold at that helicopter company for him to restructure everything to make it more streamlined. But he couldn't do, so he can do it on that level in that industry. But he can't do it here, where he arguably has even more control. I don't know. All sounds kind of shaky to me.
YouTube is dying. It is a website now that is toxic as hell. The biggest people are the most toxic people. And that is YouTube's own fault. That is Google's fault. They engineered their site to push the negative and the dramatic to the top of their website. And the website has become a cesspool of garbage. It's their own fault.
And I really predict, honestly, that YouTube will never go out of business because they can't. They have an infinite amount of fucking money with Google funding them. But they are going to fall apart in the next few years.
More and more content creators who are now being demonetized on a regular basis will leave. And the website's going to become a ghost of its former self. And you're going to see people who want to do gaming, alright, are going to be coming to Twitch, coming to other streaming websites, and we're gonna find other alternatives to do what we love. We're not gonna put up with
Dick Suckalips. Oh boy. Well, as you guys all know, he was wrong, as he is with most of his predictions and stuff. It's fucking amazing. Especially since he's not on Twitch anymore, which makes it even more ironic. It's like the little bacon bits with the cherry on the top of this fucking Gouty Sunday and shit. Like, he preached all this bullshit and whatnot. And Twitch has all kinds of problems and issues, right? Especially if, and keep, forgive me if I have the timeline wrong, but when the Twitch leaks happened, right, where everybody found out what everybody else was making, at least what Twitch was paying them, or whatever. Then all of a sudden, it was, well, not all of a sudden, but then it was a few months after that, right, is when Twitch initiated that whole, they restructured, I should say, their payment system, the one that everybody's complaining about now. And now, I think they were always talking about presenting ads onto Twitch, but now, I mean, shit, some content creators have to run 8 ads in an hour? Holy fuck. You don't even see that in most YouTube videos, even the longer ones. No one's saying Twitch is going out of business, but for some of the people who really thought Twitch was really gonna be that place for gaming, it's not necessarily, especially when in certain sections, like let's say the Call of Duty section, for example, most of them are just blatant cheaters, and everybody knows it. And back in 2017, if you were caught cheating, you took a 7-day ban. They wouldn't throw you off of the site, at least not everybody. But essentially, you caught a 7-day ban. Most people don't get banned for that now, and if they do, it's you were cheating plus they caught you on something else, which only validates the ban. Makes you wonder. But also, let's go back to someone that I have a tremendous amount of respect for, Devin Nash. I remember him a couple of years ago saying, hey, Twitch is a big spot. It's only going to get bigger. Why would anybody leave when all your advantages are over on Twitch? And well, we all saw what happened. And I'm not saying that Devin was wrong. I'm just saying that, he went off the information that he had. It wasn't completely accurate given what the results were. But, hey, you can only work with what you got. And yet again, I still got a tremendous amount of respect for him. I still watch all of his content because the guy knows what he's talking about. I'm just saying we gambled on the wrong horse. Yeah! I'm just saying. Let's continue.
Shit anymore. For me right now, YouTube is a place where I archive my game playthroughs, and it's a place where I do vlogging and reviews and stuff. That's it. It's not my main focus. The streams are my main focus. They have to be. I can't survive working with a fucking website and a business that doesn't listen to feedback, doesn't listen to the people who provide them the free content that they make their fucking ad revenue on to begin with, and just constantly changes the site to screw you over. I'm done with it.
You're done with it? Wait a second. I mean, you say you provide the free content that they make money off and this, that, and the third. If you didn't have the platform, you wouldn't be able to make the money. They're the one that provides the infrastructure. They're the one that has all the servers. They're the one to do all the technical shit. All you do is throw your slop up on there. Just saying, we may not want to bite the hand that that feeds us. Something to think about. Just throwing it out there. It's the holiday season, like DSP says. We're supposed to be nice to each other. Maybe we should try to be civil. I don't know.
Really done with it, so.
All right. Comments are off on DSP Gaming, and nothing was lost at all.
The last Rambo did a 200-bit cheer, and he says, how do trending clips work? I get notifications of clips from your streams, and they're interpreted to be negative. Anyone could do a clip, and the way it works is, I guess Twitch actually expects...
Stop guessing, because when you guess, things usually go wrong. Anywho, as it pertains to YouTube, as you know, YouTube Shorts have been introduced. It's my understanding that sometime next year, you can actually monetize them. DSP had success with one or two of his early shorts, and then obviously I don't know if he's still doing it. Maybe he abandoned it. Maybe he didn't. I thought he was trying to do clips of the week or some shit. Whatever. The point being is that once money is behind it, once money is pushed onto it, then he'll do it, and they will lose interest just like anything else he does. And that's something that's really interesting about DSP, because though people make the argument that, well, hey, some of you guys do gameplay stuff and none of that shit hits, so do you really have a right to hit DSP up? I can counter that in the fact that almost everything DSP does doesn't hit. It may work for a little bit, but it's all gonna falter. You are brave to put yourself out there and stream to nobody. Not to nobodies, I mean to nobody. And to try to keep that up for a month, a week. There are people who've done that for like 6 months. People who've done that for longer. On YouTube, not Twitch, where you would expect to see that. But on YouTube. It takes a lot to put yourself out there and do that shit. Especially if you really enjoy what you're doing, or if you believe in it. And then you got to transition and do something else. It takes a lot. But yet, it's really, really weird that you have someone who has a YouTube channel of 200,000, over 200,000, whatever. It's all fraudulent numbers anyway. Who has over 200,000 subs. And can barely pull 1,000 views on a video. In some cases, less than 500. Who's the real loser in this situation? I'm not saying that you're not putting out an argument. But who's the real loser in that?
Actively moderate who's making clips of my streams, because for them to understand, there is a clips section that I could look at, and let's say, for example, I see a clip that's made out to be negative. Like, let's say I fail at a game, and someone makes a clip and titles it,
Darkside Phil is a piece of fucking shit gamer who should die in a fire.
Well, obviously, that's not a nice clip. So, what I could do, apparently, not only can I delete that clip from existing, I could also ban that person permanently from my channel. But...
Do I have time to fucking sit here and moderate clips? No.
Wait, why don't you? Matter of fact, that statement in itself only reinforces why he killed the comment section on YouTube, to be honest with you. And had in some ways would have the justification to do it. So you're telling me you saw a clip that had that title, and then you watched the clip, but you didn't want it to be deleted and you didn't want to ban that person. But you felt that it was necessary. You felt that it was crucial to go ahead and disable the comments on DSP Gaming, which was reduced to an archive channel. I'm sure there's some type of logic in there somewhere. I'm sure. I may have just had too much eggnog. It's possible. And I don't drink like room temperature eggnog like DSP does. So I don't. We throw brandy and bourbon and scotch and eggnog like most people do. But I don't understand that store-bought stuff. It may be good though, maybe, but I don't understand it. So I don't know. Maybe I've had too much eggnog. It's possible. Let's continue.
I don't want to be. I don't want to be a guy who's just sitting here being a fucking Nazi moderating shit. Trust me, I've been there. I used to be the guy who used to sit on YouTube looking at YouTube comments trying to moderate them. I'm not going back to that fucking place. That's a nightmare. Alright?
So, yeah, that's how clips work.
Maybe that's the reason why we disabled the comments in the first place. And that only reinforces something that I've told you guys before. DSP is a creature of habit. So, as I said, him going on Twitter and hunting for, whoever may be fucking up, who may have slighted him, or someone who's popular that he thinks he can piggyback off of, no pun intended. Okay, there's some pun intended. That's something he's been doing for years too. Old habits die hard. And not every snort dies in the wind like that. Phantom snorts, if you will. Just something to think about. The man has not changed, which is kind of the whole point. He really hasn't. And because he lacks the creativity and the ability to pivot, mentally at the very least, damn sure he can't do it physically, you kind of see why it's easy for him to fall into old habits. And because he can't break the habit, especially something minor like the comment section, it's easier just to do away with it.
Shitty thing. It's a really shitty system. And I don't think that it needs to basically even be there, in my opinion. Because, yeah, you're right, people could easily spin stuff out of context or try to make you look bad. But, Twitch is evolving. I'm sure eventually it'll get better. For now, it's just kind of silly.
I prefer a penne. Oh! Easy to eat. Oh! Phil's a faggot. Phil's fat. Phil's a loser. Phil's a beggar. Alright, I'm not dead, but I swear to God, I wish I fucking was.
Oh boy, that never gets old. That never gets old. Oh, good stuff. Oh, well, if you ever get a chance to go back to the Snort report, that'll be fun. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, that's day 11, or our 11th day of Goutmas. A lot for you guys to digest. A lot for you guys to find correlations in, because there's stuff that I purposely missed, or I may have missed just innately, and I left out. But I'm sure you'll find your correlations and you'll draw your own conclusions. It's been fun. It's been fun, and there's still so many more goodies to go over. So give me a second to kind of gather my thoughts. We'll reconvene, and I will let you guys go and whatnot. Let's see here. See you guys in a second.
I think there must be something wrong with me, Linus. Christmas is coming, but I'm not happy. I don't feel the way I'm supposed to feel. I just don't understand Christmas, I guess. I like getting presents and sending Christmas cards and decorating trees and all that, but I'm still not happy. I always end up feeling depressed.
Charlie Brown, you're the only person I know who can take a wonderful season like Christmas and turn it into a problem.
It's all about perspective. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you yet again for stopping by and giving me a little bit of your time, or sharing a little bit of your time, I should say, more than you gave it. depending on how you look at it, perspective. You know what I'm saying? And I'm telling you, there's not too much that DSP is doing in the current day that, if you know where to look and if you know when to look, you couldn't find an example of it. I'm not trying to say that I'm trying to prove I'm in competition with myself to try to prove a point, because that's not the case. Or maybe it's some of the case. I don't know. We'll see. At the end of the day, the only person you're really competing with is yourself. But I hope that at least some of the examples that I've given you stimulate some thought. Like I said yesterday, please go back, look at the old Snort Burnell videos, look at old detractor videos in general. You'll see what I mean. You'd be surprised what you miss. I've missed quite a bit, and I've gone over some of this stuff, obviously many years ago, and coming back to it every couple years really puts things into perspective, because you can easily miss stuff. It's just like reading a good book multiple times or watching a movie multiple times. You'd be surprised what you miss. In any case, season's greetings and happy holidays to all of you. And I will see you guys for our next video, which would be tomorrow, because that's a thing and whatnot. Take care of yourselves, and happy holidays as usual. Later, people.